Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hogo With It. Today is the first day of Vlogmas and I am so thrilled that it's finally here. I have been looking forward to this and planning and planning and planning. So this is the first video. I have a very special new mug. It says, "Bark the Herald Angels Sing." And on the other side is, I think, a Frenchie with one of those Christmas paper hats that you get in those crackers. I'm very excited. Inside, it's chocolate peppermint hot chocolate. It tastes amazing. The best part, Barry doesn't really like it, so I get more. Is that bad? That's not very, like, Christmassy, right? But, oh well, there's plenty of time to be generous. So, really terrified that that's gonna fall. So today we are talking about winter books that I would recommend. And it was so wonderful going through my Goodreads about all of the books that I've read and which ones really call out to me to just feel like winter. So let us dive in. First, I mean, this is not a shock to anyone, I don't think. It's Harry Potter. It might be the Christmas scenes in Harry Potter that really reminds me of winter, but there's something about this, maybe it's how magical it is, I don't know, but I love to read Harry Potter in the winter. I often try to listen to an audiobook because the audiobooks of Harry Potter are fantastic. So Harry Potter I would really recommend for the winter. Another children's book that I have fond memories of reading when I was a kid is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And just the whole premise of this is that there is this witch that's taken over Narnia and she has made it always winter and never summer. And so you meet these four kids that discover Narnia by going through a wardrobe, and it is wintry and it's so magical. It's absolutely lovely. And yeah, there's something really cozy about reading that one in the winter as well. Moving right along, I don't think there's any more children's books on this list. We've got The Winter People next by Jennifer McMahon. I still have to read more by her because she's a fantastic writer. This follows two girls. Their mother goes missing one day and they discover the diary of a woman who used to live in their house under the floorboards, and that woman was found dead in the fields. I think it was in the 1800s. Nope, 1908. And so you have two mysteries taking place at the same time, and it's very cozy. It's a cozy mystery, but I loved every single second of it. So I would recommend The Winter People. And like that, the title and the cover like screams winter. One of my all-time favorite books ever, Life After Life. This book tells the story of Ursula, who is born in 1910 on a cold and snowy night. Now, what's interesting about Ursula's life is she lives her life over and over again, and sometimes she dies very early in her life, and sometimes she'll go quite far. And there's wartime stuff in here, and I think the reason that it feels so wintry to me is that every time you start a new life, you start it on this cold and wintry night. So there's just something about starting it so frequently on like a very cold and winter night that I just loved, and it's just a very cozy book, but also like really impactful. And there's something about historical fiction during the winter that I really enjoy. Winter and spring for me are very historical fiction times. Next up is Burial Rites. This book takes place in Iceland. We follow a woman who has been sentenced to death. Unfortunately for Iceland, They need to get a guillotine like shipped over. I guess they don't have a guillotine around. So they are waiting for his guillotine to show up, and she has to still live her life, and she goes to stay with the family, and it's Iceland, and so it's very cold. And yeah, there's something about that one definitely that I would recommend reading in the winter. Dark Places. You knew that I would have a thriller in here, right? Like, I absolutely will. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn follows a girl named Libby, and she survived a very brutal murder of her family when she was little. Her brother is said to have killed her whole family. Or did he? So she has said her whole life, my brother did it, my brother did it. But she's grown up now, and she starts to like second guess herself as to whether or not he actually did. Anyway, she survives by racing out of the house as a little girl and hiding, and I think she's hiding in the snow. It takes place in January. And so I would definitely recommend that one if you want something a little bit spooky for a winter read. And then there is another one of my all-time favorite books, The Book Thief. This is told from the perspective of death, and we follow a little girl named Liesel. She lives in Nazi Germany, and she has a little habit of stealing the books that the Nazis are about to burn. She steals them and reads them, and books kind of save her. She's taken in by this German couple, and they are not actually for the war effort. They have to pretend to believe that the Nazis are right and everything, but they don't actually believe that. And they actually hide a Jewish man in their basement, and Liesel gets to know him. And there's a scene in here where he has been in the basement for weeks and weeks on end, and he hasn't seen the outside. And she goes and brings a snowball into him so that he can touch the snow. And there's so many meaningful moments in this book. So I would so recommend reading this in winter as well. And then the last book that I would recommend is a bit more of a gothic book. It's called The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. And this follows a very young woman who is married off, and she moves quite far away. I can't remember if this takes place in Denmark or where it takes place, but in any case, she moves there. Her husband gives her a doll house as a wedding present, and she's kind of angry about it because she's like, I'm a grown woman now, even though I think she's like 15 or something like that. And so she's like, I don't have any time for doll houses. But then slowly but surely, these miniatures show up on her doorstep for the dollhouse, and they mimic what's going on in her own life. And it's a bit creepy, not overly creepy, I have to say. When I read the blurb, I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this, I'm gonna be terrified. It's not overly creepy, but her sense of atmosphere, it is so dark, like you can feel the crispness in the air. It's really well done. So I definitely want to read more by Jessie Burton just because of her ability to create an amazing atmosphere. So those are all of the books that I would recommend that you read in the winter. Time for a little sip. Let me know in the comments below what wintry books you would recommend to me and to everyone else watching this video. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Vlogmas to you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.